Dave Thomas is with us. And is Luc back in the house?
There he is.
There he is. He's on his phone. He's placing a bet.
Well, Luc was on assignment. We sent him to Calgary. I said, you got a good spot that we can eat in Calgary. I didn't know you were going to go to Calgary to find out.
Yeah, it takes a lot to be the color commentator for the Rider broadcast. So one of my responsibilities I take quite seriously is making sure that we always have a good spot to eat. So. I
got a memo that we can't call you that anymore. I got a memo that we have to call you football analyst.
Yeah. Well, here's what we were trying to avoid. Saying best color guy in the CFL, because that's real close to best colored guy in the CFL.
What's wrong with that?
What?
And you dress really
HR is calling. HR is calling. Be careful.
Yeah, because your people services division will.
I just want to avoid it. Ask them to guess what nationality I'm in. That's always a fun game to play with them.
Well, Barney, you don't even know that you're not 5'10". What are you? He's 5'6". He's 5'10".
Can I leave now?
You can if you need to. Yeah,
it's really hot. It's really hot in here. It's pushing like 93 right now in the studio. So if you see sweat coming down, it is legit. How bad was the weather up there today? Who wants to take that question first?
I don't think it was bad. There was a little bit of rain to start the day, but it tapered out before they reached the midpoint of the workout. It wasn't windy or anything. Much different story now, but it was raining a little bit, but not bad.
Yeah, actually, it was perfect football weather, to tell you the truth. It was overcast, a little bit damp. And I felt like it was a good pace to practice. Definitely not the wind and tornado scenario apparently going down in Regina. That sounds bad.
Yep, it's bad down here.
Yeah.
I'm putting rocks in my pocket.
So what would they, like when you have a day like that, and whoever wants to take it, are they working on like the ball security? Obviously, the kickers are kind of getting a little different test. The snap, the hold, all that. What were they kind of doing a lot of that?
I'd say yes, early. And coach kind of alluded to the fact that, it's a chance to work on ball security. Wouldn't mind it for a whole practice. If it's going to rain for part, you might as well rain for a whole. But again, it's all scenario practice, right?
Yeah, because when you take a look at the game that's on Monday, if you rewind sort of the week of game day prep in the normal Canadian Football League, like today would have represented day one of practice, right? So for these guys who are trying to make the team, I think that they're still going to build into the plays, but they're also probably going to start talking at some point about which play sheet they're going to go with during the exhibition game, and it'll be significantly stripped down so they can play fast. But if it's weather like it is today, obviously ball security does become an issue, right? And it's not like, you got to always remember, these guys are pros, right? They've been in wet games,
Yeah.
Okay, Luc, you were on assignment yesterday, but I wanted to ask you this. Out of the cuts yesterday, which one surprised you the most?
None of them. I know that Darrell Henderson was a name to everybody, and he was named to me. I mean, there was one point I had him in my fantasy football team. But I actually like the approach that J.O. took. If you know that you have the other guys that are solidified, there's no point in continuing to provide opportunities to the guys that you probably aren't going to go with, right? Get those guys off your roster, bring the other guys into camp that you have, right? Because you're allowed to bring X amount of guys into your camps, right? But you have a lot larger sheet that you want to get a look at, right? There's Y guys that don't even get the invite. So bring some of those guys in if you can. If you know that and you feel good about the guys at depth, get rid of the other guys and start looking at the rest of your sheet.
So here's the question. When do you know? Because I'm going to take the curtain back a little bit on our broadcast. If you had a chance, and maybe we'll do this, we'll put up a camera at some point in the booth, and if you watch Luc, everybody talks about Tony Romo knows what's happening before it happens. If you watch Luc, he is pointing either on the monitor in front of him, or you can see what's happening, where a blitz might be coming from, understanding where maybe a tight end is moving, so you know.
Right.
So when do you know that a player isn't going to make your team?
That's a great question. I think that now, this might not have been the case for Darrell Henderson, but it's a good example just because everybody kind of expected him to take a longer run at the roster. If you get a guy in, and in the first couple days you see the skill, but he keeps making the same mistakes, right? And more importantly, we've got a roster like you have number 24.
Mary Anderson Jr.
Mario Anderson Jr. has looked really good in camp. And you already know what you have with Mario Anderson Jr. You also know that your number one running back spot is solidified, right? So it's not necessarily about what Darrell Henderson did or didn't do, too. You might just take a look on film and say, wow, Mario Henderson did everything he could do to prepare for training camp. He looks great. It's clear he feels great. The guys in the locker room love him. Why are we wasting time on figuring out if we can push him? He already came. He knew that he was going to have competition. He came ready. He's looked good in camp. Let's just move on and try to make a decision on some of these more important spots where we know we're going to have to build in depth, right? Some guys, though, right? Some guys, it's even easier. Some guys screw up and are late to a meeting, right? And don't obey the rules of camp. Hey, we want everybody back in at 10 o'clock. Fine. Guess what you shouldn't do? Roll in at 11:15, right? Because today, cameras are everywhere, right? So, again, it could be a really easy decision based on this guy's just a knucklehead and he won't listen. He's not coachable and he doesn't obey the rules. Sometimes it's like, look, the guys ahead of him came in ready to go. Let's just keep focused on those guys and move somewhere else.
Some guys have a leash.
Or the guy's just not good.
Some guys would have a leash though too, right, Luke? Like I'm sure when you played, and any sport, again, a guy comes in late, misses curfew, does something, and you wanted the excuse to get rid of him, or like in the workplace, it's like, oh, that made it easy. And some guys have a little bit longer of a leash though, right?
They shouldn't.
Obvious.
Come
right?
on.
Shouldn't have. However, like if Tom Brady came in, right, Tom Brady wouldn't go anywhere. But again, that's a leash that is earned through success, right? Some guys do have a leash, but the guys who are new, you never have a leash because culturally, if you try to take advantage of the situation you're in, and the GM or head coach lets you do that, then that's more of a testament to how poor the GM and coach is. I'll never forget. I saw one of the best clips on social media. It was when Jeff Fisher was at the Tennessee Titans. All right, he was the head coach of the Tennessee Titans, and the YouTube clip is from the NFL Network show during the preseason. You know, when they go into training camp, Hard Knocks. Anyways, Jeff Fisher calls a wide receiver into the office, right? And he's like, so, hey, like, what were you thinking? And this wide receiver broke the rules. Jeff Fisher explained in the team meeting that you can't have girls in the hotel room, right? So the receiver says, oh, well, she was just dropping something off. And Jeff Fisher stands up and says, so we're going to release you today, right? Mm-hmm. We're going to release you today. Jeff Fisher is not a successful NFL head coach, is he? Right? But he's a coach that stood on the principles that he wanted in his team. And that's what you got to do. So leashes are there sometimes based on how successful you are as a player. Some guys get certain chances, but it really depends on what the violation is.
Dean in Regina, question on the Prairie Land Rentals text line. Can you ask Dave? I think we could ask both of you guys this. Who's the leading candidate who looks good at safety? He'd like to know.
I'd say Lacombo, hands down. He's taken all the reps. He's actually made some interceptions, some really nice plays in camp thus far, and I don't think he replaces his veteran leadership. I won't say that Jackson Ford is far behind, though. Jackson's pushing him, but Nelson's responded thus far in my eyes. Yeah,
you always like it when you have some real quality. Like Jackson Ford is a good player, right? And more importantly, both players are really young. But you're right. I think Nelson Lacombo right now, I think he didn't jump in and just star in the role when he got the opportunity. He took some time to come along, and I think at the end of the year he was a really productive safety, and I think that he continues to improve. And I would be shocked if he wasn't the number one guy right now, right? And it's going to be interesting too, because again, this is a team and this is a coaching staff that's shown that, hey, like, when they put guys on their depth, especially in the secondary, those guys are expected to play in other spots and sometimes down low at the linebacker spot as well. And I think Jackson Ford's a terrific football player. So if he doesn't start, I see him contributing in a significant way on the defense, not just on special teams.
Because we're not there, we don't get to watch the practices and all the activities like you guys do. Who's the surprise? Who's the one that really stood out for you in the last day or so, offense or defense, whatever? Who's the guy that we should maybe pay attention to extra on Monday?
Me? I'm going to go with your guy.
Go ahead.
Okay. Jalen Pate on the defensive line, number 90.
Yeah.
Luke pointed out, he says, like, this guy has been dominant. He hasn't been here the entire camp, but the last couple of days he's really stepped up. He's worked his way into the ones in the rotation with the defensive line that has already got Mike Rose on it. You've got guys like Desmond Evans as well as Devin Adams, and let's not forget on the other side is James Vaughters. So those five have kind of been the primary guys, and I would say that Pate has worked his way in.
Yeah, I think Pate, and again, we haven't watched him a lot, right? I really like, and again, it's not just because he's wearing number 95, but I like the job that Devin Adams is doing, guys. I think that he's come in. He's got a little bit of a CFL experience, so it's to be expected. But again, when you have a talented player like Ali Saad, who's a Canadian and a high draft pick, he's running with the ones now. That says something. One of the guys that's really stood out as well for me, and unfortunately it's not a new guy, right? Because I know why you're asking, Sharky, right? Like there's a new guy that just sort of takes off, takes everybody's breath away. Well, that's what I was about to say. I think number 62, Peyton Collins, our left tackle, I think he's going to have a fantastic year. He looks great. I can't hear you.
Got injured and came back into the lineup. I thought Collins was fantastic at that left tackle and just solidified that whole offensive line.
Yeah.
Any other big shocks?
Go ahead.
Big shocks. I'm really surprised, not because it's not earned, but the opportunity. Like we seem to be talking about Daniel Weeb every day, and I guess that's a good thing that he's put himself out there to be talked about consistently over and over again. So he's done himself well, and maybe I don't want to say a shock. I just didn't understand what Josh Woods was going to bring to the linebacking core. Not saying that I doubted his ability or talent in any way. I just didn't know how his game would fit. But it's been terrific. Like he's been flying all over the place, and he openly admitted to me, I love playing with Jameer Thurman. That's why I'm here. I get to play with Thurman. I've never played with a caliber player like that in this league, and he's looked good.
Well, and one of the other guys that figures to play a role in here somewhere, and I think is battling for significant playing time too, is number 47, Aubrey Miller Jr. I mean, I think that the four of us or five of us have always he's kind of stuck out every time he's been on the field for the Riders in the past. He looks good. He's playing fast. And again, he's a guy that has a lot of experience in the system. So, where does he fit in this? Braden Shager, number 10, I've talked about him a couple times. I think that he can spin it, and he's got a chance to really push for a position here. We talked about Jack Cohn, right, Dave? He's just got to figure out a way to be as consistent as possible. He's got to really take advantage of his exhibition game reps. But again, Braden Shager's looked good. So
how does he fit in? Sorry, Luke. How does he fit into the roster then? How do you see him fitting in?
Well, I don't know, right? So you've got right now you've got the names that you know, right? TH7's not going anywhere, and plus he looks great, which is awesome news. You've got Jack Cohn and you've got Tommy Stevens. He's got a solidified third down role, which we now know how critical it is in the Canadian Football League based on the success versus the failures that we've seen out of that position too, right? But this is a team that's brought four quarterbacks before. Or what if Jack Cohn doesn't turn out to be as consistent as they'd like him to be, right? Do they take a look at Shager? But again, we're saying this prior to any exhibition game. Braden Shager might get like one series, throw a pick, have a caused fumble, right? Like we never know until we know. But again, right now we can just see what guys are doing out here. My biggest concern, and I think that it's been, I've talked to you about it a few times, is just, are we going to get a pass rush? Right? Like, what's the pass rush going to look like? How are they going to manufacture pressure on an opponent quarterback this season? Right.
Agreed. And quick note, first, Tommy Stevens, amazing 35-yard scamper. Like, the guy has wheels. So anything that held him back last year, he's over. And Antoine Brooks Jr.
Oh, man. Wow.
We should have talked about him.
Well, here's the problem. Like, look at the situation. You've got Antoine Brooks Jr., Aubrey Miller, you've got Thurm, and you've got Josh Woods. Right, that's four linebackers who are all good players, right? And there's only 3 linebacker spots, so you got to figure out a place to, that competition is good. I love the competition at that linebacker position.
Okay, boys, coming up to the clock. Are you both with us in hour 2?
Unless I get fired, I'm thinking of it.
Yeah, hopefully. As long as you guys aren't gonna ramble on about the terrible Edmonton Oilers coaching scenario. Nobody wants to coach there, guys. It's over for those guys. At some point, you're gonna have to realize that it's the players too, folks.
I got this. That's where that call came from, Dave, from HR.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll call them back at news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal.
Oh, well. Win some, you lose. It was a good run, boys. It was a good run. Okay, talk to you guys in an hour or two. Try the nachos.
Yeah.
Red Zone Sports Bars bringing us our training camp reports located behind the Saskatoon Travel Lodge. Okay, let's go out. Can't keep these guys waiting. And they get hangry.
Yeah. We're cutting into snack time.
Red Zone Sports Bar, training camp report. We're going back up, located behind the Saskatoon Travel Lodge. Dave Thomas and Luc Mullinder are with us. All smiles, as per usual.
National Caesar Day. Is there a good Caesar there at the Red Zone?
I don't think it is.
It is. It's National Caesar Day.
I didn't know that.
Are you a Caesar guy?
Well, if it's National Caesar Day.
See, I don't like any form of liquid ketchup that's like Caesars. I can't drink Caesars. Sorry.
Really?
What?
No.
What about?
Yeah.
Well, just it's like a mimosa though. You just so Caesar, as long as it's got you can fill it 98% with beer and just put a dab of Clamato in it.
That's a beer
Caesar.
and clam.
That's a beer and clam.
That's a beer and clam, Luke.
Caesar, boys. That's
Michigan State. That's borderline chelada. Caesar is a vodka.
Yeah.
Clamato juice. Worcestershire.
Little Tabasco.
And either a pickle or a beet or.
I know that. I'm just trying to help Dave out. If he wants to participate, let him participate in the day, guys. Jeez.
That's a great teammate. I appreciate that, man.
Oh my God!
Thank
Listen
you.
to these guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Covering up a
Can I
beer and
ask-
clam fumble.
No, I'm serious.
Okay.
Let the man enjoy it.
We believe you.
Go ahead, Dave.
Well, okay, I was just going to say you're in your glory with Malcolm Bell comes in yesterday, another Michigan State guy. I talked about him yesterday. I talked to him about, hey, there's a lot of good Michigan State people around here. And he said, yeah, you know what, it's a lot easier. But the thing that he said that raised eyebrows is I'm coming in to be a starter. Now, he did qualify it after the fact and said, okay, I understand that I have to come in and learn. But if I don't want to be a starter someday, I'm not doing things right. I want to be a starter in this league. Did that raise your eyebrows at all, or were you okay with that comment?
What else is he coming here for?
Well, no, I get it, but don't you say I'm coming in to learn and earn my way?
He's the first round pick. He better be thinking that. If he's coming in here, if he's the first round pick for Michigan State, and he's thinking, oh boy, I can't wait to be a part of the locker room, he's in the wrong business. This Malcolm Bell needs to come in here, and and he's Canadian already, so he kind of understands the ratio. He needs to point at Tavon Campbell's spot and say, that's a starting Canadian spot, that's my spot. That's exactly what he needs to do.
Well, that's what he did.
And you know what? And Tavon Campbell was probably the same way when he came in, right? And that's going to push Tavon Campbell. Because you know what Tavon Campbell's going to say? Look, man, I'm going to take this young buck, I'm going to groom him, and I'm going to get him ready, but there's no way in hell he's taking my spot, right? So, you have to be competitive out here about this, right? This is a competitor's business. If he's coming in here, thinking it's just like Jack Cohn. If Jack Cohn's not preparing to be a starter and trying to take Trevor Harris's spot, we're not going to get the best Jack Cohn at the number 2 spot when we need him, right? You have to approach it like that. Absolutely, I'm 120% behind him saying that.
Or we don't want Tavon Campbell to go, you know what? I was on the fence anyway. I'm just going to retire.
Hey, here's a question for you on that. Could they go with 2 Canadians on the corners? Could they put them both out there?
Well, one of the moves that they made is they also signed another Canadian defensive back, right? What's his name? Trey Robinson, or what is his? They signed another Canadian defensive back. Kerfala Exume is Canadian, right? So that gives them 4. They've got Jackson Ford, who's played a little bit of DB. So you got 5 defensive backs in Canadian. It's all based on guys, who are the better guys, right? And one of the things that Jeremy O'Day specifically has shown, especially in that championship season, is he doesn't mind putting Canadian players on the roster if they're worth it, right? So, again, do I think he's ready to be a starter in the Canadian Football League? I don't think so. It's his first day here, right? But man, if he lights the world on fire, he's got a ton of experience. This is Big Ten football he played, right? He's got a ton of experience. I think the world's in front of him, man. Really
Trey Tomlinson, by the way, is who we signed today.
Sorry.
And just the one question with that, though, are you going to take Marcus Sales off the field?
What?
Well, if you want to play 2 Canadians, you got to take Marcus Sayles off.
No, obviously you're not taking Marcus Sayles off. But take the point. The point is if he comes in and is one of the best players in the secondary, then right, that's football.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
he's a first round pick. That's football, right? Like you want to have your guys. And again, you have to remember, guys, what the Canadian football. It's a developmental league. It's a developmental draft, right? The CFL. Your first to 7th rounders are all guys you're looking to develop. It's not the NFL where the first rounder is the guy who's starting, regardless of who's in camp. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So. He's got a massive opportunity in this because he already has a Canadian spot. He's got 2 Canadian spots in the secondary. He's got safety and he's got a corner position. Right, that's better than a lot of Canadian defensive backs walk into in their situations when they're drafted by teams.
How's Carson Sombach look?
Amazing interception today. Picked off Trevor Harris, stepped in front of the play, and then ran it back the length of the field for a touchdown. So coaches are impressed by him.
We're getting to the point, though, too, where it's like you said, right? Coaches are impressed, but, right? And the only reason I'm saying we're getting to that point is just because you're looking forward to Monday now, right? You know, like guys light the world on fire, right? Guys light camp on fire. Some guys, you know, and I was, for instance, you look at the pass rush drill, right? You look at one-on-ones in Pass Skelly, right? And Pass Skelly, where like, it's just kind of the drill. It's not the actual game. Sombach's going to have to go out there in the game against guys he's never seen before, against deep right that he's got to anticipate. And these guys, the guys that are starting to stand out, it's great for them, right? It's how you earn the opportunity, but that opportunity when the window opens on Monday, that's what it's all going to be about.
I don't think we've talked about this yet. I was wondering, how's Lake Corte Moore looking after the injury and the rehab? I've been following him on Instagram. He actually does a lot of golfing, a lot of training. How's he looked, or what's the status there?
Well, he's been out at practice, but he's been kind of limited, right? Okay. So he does a few drills, but yeah, he hasn't done it. Like he doesn't participate in team, he doesn't participate in the one-on-ones, right? So you can tell. I mean, that was a major injury he took, and unfortunately, it was late in the year, right? So it's not one of those situations where you're just not a vet that you know got hurt during the off season. Like he was injured really bad at the end of the year, right? It's like an Achilles injury for guys in the NFL. You know, you see them go down in the playoffs, and it's like, well, that's just not them losing the guy for the playoff run. That's the team also losing him for next season. You know what I mean? So you just got to keep battling and trying to keep getting better every single day. And one of the biggest drains, guys, is the mental drain when you're a vet and you're hurt and not in camp, because you're seeing guys take the reps that you should be getting or you want to be getting, and more importantly, you see guys getting good. Players improve, and then you actually, you know, you get to a point in camp where you're looking at guys and you're starting to think about where you fit, right? I haven't been out in camp. I know the old adage, you can't make the club in the tub. I see so-and-so playing really well. Coach has been all over him, you know, rubbing his shoulders, calling him a all-star in the making, right? Like it's a hard mental grind when you're a vet and you're hurt and you've got to watch practice. I mean, there's only so much you can do, but man, I got hurt in camp and I missed like 2 days, and those 2 days felt like I had missed a month and a half.
Wow.
Just because you know how competitive the situation you're in, you know that every single rep you're missing is another rep someone else is getting. Like that 2 days felt like literally 2 months, man. I was down. I can't tell you how good it felt to be able to put cleats on, knowing that I was actually going to be able to participate and take reps in practice and start working my way back into the coach's eyes. Because it sucks.
Yeah.
I hate it for Lake Corte Moore. It sucks.
You know, it's interesting you're talking about that and injuries, because they're only showing one guy on the injured list, right? Ryder Varga is the only guy they're showing as banged up. Is there anybody else besides Corte Moore that's banged up?
Caleb Saunders hasn't participated
Saunders
yet.
hasn't participated. Benoit Marion hasn't participated. And that's what I was talking about on Monday, right, guys? It's like, you know, as a former player, I just can't imagine guys getting hurt before camp and not being able to participate in camp. You know, like whatever they were doing training, it's just a tough deal, man. Because again, you know, like so for instance, one of the guys I've been raving about is number 95, right? Caleb Saunders. I mean, not sorry, Devin
Adams.
Devin Adams.
Yeah.
I'm high on him. But the guy coming into that situation who probably would have been in the number 1 spot at the D tackle position was Caleb Saunders.
Yeah.
Do you know, and I'm telling you guys, listen, we're all like rah-rah, you know, like it's a team game, blah, blah, blah. It's not like that in camp. I can tell you right now that every single time Devin Adams wins a rep in camp, on film, in that meeting room, and coach goes, that's a fantastic job. Every single time it happens, Caleb Saunders' neck gets a little bit hot. It's a little bit. Lake Cortez Moore gets a little bit hot. I'm telling you, this is just right. I'm not exaggerating. I've been there, right?
Yeah.
Like you're looking at guys and you want to be like, hey man, great move, but you're also like, man, oh hell no, I don't want to. You know what I mean?
It's like
right?
two goalies,
like
two goalies battling for for a job in a team.
It's exactly like that, Sharky. You know, and so
Barney.
then if Devin, sorry, Barney. Well, you know, again, my bad.
Come on, how do you miss me?
You're 5'6", Barney. You know, you're 5'6", even with that bright blue shirt you got on. Jeez. But like, just you know, and if you're Caleb Saunders and you're sitting there and like Devin Adams makes a mistake and coach like just breezes through it, hey, you need your friend, you're kind of like, man, actually he's got to do this and you know what I mean, like it's a competitive environment. Guys are you're only lovey-dovey just to a point, right?
Yeah. But how do you get over that, man? How do you get over that mentality?
You get on the field.
Okay, but
you don't get over it, guys. You don't get over it. This is the dream job. This is the job. You are a 1%er, and then you understand that average careers are like 2.5 years, right? And every single rep, every single time you have a camp, there's someone behind you that's trying to take your spot. There's someone in front of you that you're trying to get to. Like it is a crushing experience if you're not out there. And I'm telling you, because I've been in the situation, I promise you this, there's nothing worse than a guy that plays your position. And you call me a hater all you want, but again, I know this. There's nothing worse than watching guys who play the same position as you do well in film and having everybody be like, "Great move," blah blah blah, because you're just sitting there like, I'm losing the dreams. My window's closing, and I have no control over it.
That's why we love you as our football analyst, because you're honest. Dave, in hour 3, we're going to play your interview with Ollie Saad. Can you give us for a tease on that one?
Well, Luke went for a spin with him around campus at the U of S, and I was kind of a little bit jealous, so I wanted to have a conversation of my own with him. But in all honesty, Ollie's got an opportunity this year as a second-year guy coming in to make a statement here in camp. He's performing, and he's trying to earn more reps. He earned a number of them last year, and the biggest thing that he had to overcome, I would suggest, last year is moving from the exterior to the interior of the defensive line. He had never played inside before. So he talks a little bit about that transformation and how he's changed his approach this year to A, be ready to compete, but B, to build off a solid rookie campaign with the Riders. Okay,
we'll have that, boys. Good work today. We'll catch up tomorrow as well.
Happy National Caesar Day. Live
from the Red Zone Sports Bar behind the Saskatoon Travelodge on National Caesar Day, not to be confused with National Beer and Clam Day. Luc Mullinder and Dave Thomas. We'll catch up with them again tomorrow. See you, boys. It's the Sports Cage streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com.